Hello, trading is closed on March 27th, 2019. Let's go over our calls. We thought this pattern was negative and that lower price it would print unless we gapped over these highs. So we got that. Thought there was a good chance of a gap down. That did not happen. Looked for the pattern with the early low, which is what this is. Other people will look at this and tell me they think it's the early high, but it's not. Sometimes let's just review a few things. The market repeats its change of trend times every 32 days, and sometimes it falls on the weekend. You can't look at it, but if you look back to this one from January, you'll see there's an early low and then a high about this time. And some of this isn't showing up. An early low, high about the same time. November, you'll see the same thing. Here's your low, and this high came a little bit early, but it's still within the same range. You can just keep going back every 32 days. So low, high at the right time. And go back to, you can just keep doing this all you want. Here's your low, high at the same time. Sometimes the points are split. If this one comes early, this one will be late by about the same amount. You cut this in half, that's your low. Cut these in half, that's your high. So it's the pattern with the early low. So based on the same methodology, you can say tomorrow's pattern is also going to have an early low. Tends to be a rally day unless we drop early. Tends to close near the high. If it isn't an up day, it tends to have an early drop in the first 1 to 2 hours. And while I can't say it's guaranteed, that's looking increasingly likely to me at this time. And so it's possible these targets are going to fail. We'll come back to this in well, let's go over it now. Let's see where these targets came from. Here was a MEJT buy signal. That did not pan out. Didn't go high enough. We need to go over this high to fulfill the signal. We've been looking for a high in this area. You've actually said last week the high was already in. One thing that's missing from a major change in trend is to have a failed target. And if I'm right, this one's going to be it. We also had a target of 28.11. You got to have buy signals here, ultimate buy, MEJT buy, and the target was 28.11.55. We got as high as 28.11.41. It's close enough to make it optional. It almost always prints, but no longer has to. The catch is when you have a direct hit on the target like this, the market is vulnerable to a very strong move in the other direction, meaning it's a very good likelihood this is going to hold and a big drop comes at the open. Now, you don't know until it's all over with. After the fact, you can look at it and say, yep, that was a direct hit. But at least we have some of the ingredients that were missing before. We have what I think is going to be a failed target. And we have a pattern tomorrow usually is a rally day. If this holds, then it hasn't happened yet. We have something predicting a big drop at the open. Now this is 2 days straight. We gapped up, hit higher highs, couldn't hold them at the close, and couldn't even hold the intervening low. That's a very negative pattern. To invalidate it, you have to gap over this high and preferably over this one. I don't think that's going to happen. We've already said last week this was the high of the move. We showed yesterday that this secondary high had a lot going for it. Let's go over some other reasons. This is a monthly chart. Some people call this 3 drives to the top. I don't know much about it. But if you take this middle one, and instead of the 38.2%, you come within a few points of the recent high. This channel we already shows the recent high holding. Now this is our long-term chart. If you remember, we discussed a number of times that all the people who are saying this is the end of wave purple 3 don't realize the last leg up cannot be counted as a 5-wave pattern. It's impossible. So this is wave 4, and that's wave 5. We're now making an ABC. We've already said wave B is in. And you've got wonderful Fibonacci targets right at yesterday's high, which have held. They're invalidated if we break over them. I don't think that'll happen. If I'm wrong, that's your stop, these 2 highs. But if I'm right, since we now have a failed target near the high, all we have to do to verify that we're in wave purple C down is to undercut a few lows. This one, and especially this one. We still are waiting for these targets. All the other targets from 2019 go into the 2500s. And as luck would have it, if that's A and that's B, and A and C are equal, if that's A, if C is equal to A, it's in the 25 teens, which is a 61.8% retracement of wave 4, which is in A, B, C. Well, it's actually from wave 4 to the top of wave 5. But the point is, the low 2500s with C equal to A make a reasonable target. And all we need to do is to start dropping and undercut a few lows to confirm that we have a 10% drop in front of us, and that's today's call.